Hi everyone. So today we're going to be focusing on the skill, I can determine the article's text structure. So the way we're going to look at this today is I'm going to ask that you have your Into Reading book out and ready to go, and you're going to open up to page 28. And we're going to read the section together. And then when we're done reading, I'm going to have you pull up your exit ticket on text structure so that you can fill it out as we have the book out and ready to go. So again, we're going to be thinking about how is the text structured. So we're going to look at page 28, which looks like this, and we're going to read it together. And as I'm reading it, what I'd like you to do is we're really focusing on making those inferences. So thinking about what do you know from before in the story, and what do you know from your own personal background so that you can take notes on the side of the page. So we're going to get started. So making sure that you're following along, you can underline important details, and we'll read together, and I'll give you some time to be able to take notes on the side. So we're starting on page 28 on paragraph 21. People fly in from all over the globe. Hotels in Manhattan are filled, the restaurants booked. For 16 days, it seems as if everyone in New York is trying to find the words to describe what they saw and felt. But young or old, rich or poor, New Yorker or tourist, art lover or skeptic, they all have something to say about the artwork in the park. It touches people, and it makes people happy. The gates reminds me of samurai warriors, their orange banners raised, marching through the park. I come every day. My favorite was the day it snowed. My dog liked it too. So right now, I'd like you to take a moment, and in the side, I'd like you to think about why do you think that the author chose to include quotations from different people about the artwork? What does it make you wonder about when you hear their quotations? So you can pause the video right here as you're writing down your notes, and then you can continue it when you're ready. Paragraph 23. The greatest surprise of a project, says Jean-Claude, is that when it is completed, it is a million times more beautiful than our wildest dreams. Those who use the park all the time and take it for granted find themselves noticing the details with a fresh eye. The stone arched bridge, the copper beech trees, the reflection of the gates in a half-frozen pond, the birds, gray rock formations. Jean-Claude asserts again and again, it has no purpose. It is not a symbol. It is not a message. During their many trips to the park, when fans surround the artists asking them to pose for photographs, Jean-Claude, in her way, instructs them to look at the gates, not at her and Christo. Then, suddenly, it's over. After 16 stunning days, workers begin to remove the artwork. By the middle of March, as promised by the artists, the materials are hauled away. The steel bases melted down to be recycled. The aluminum used for cans of soda. The fabric shredded and made into carpet padding. The vinyl poles are also recycled. The artists do not sell any part of the gates to private collectors or museums. When spring arrives a few weeks later and flowering trees blossom in the park, no traces of the gates remains, except in our memories, the photographs, books, a film, and countless articles. Christo likes the expression, once upon a time. He has said, once upon a time, the gates were in Central Park. Jean-Claude has something else on her mind. As soon as the gates come down, we will continue working on our next project. So on page 29, what I'd like you to do is you're really going to think about I want you to think about paragraph 23. And the author includes a quotation from Jean-Claude. The greatest surprise of a project is that when it is completed, it is 1,000,000 times more beautiful than our wildest dreams. So, what does Jean-Claude's quotation make you think about? What does it make you wonder when the author includes that quotation? So, I'm going to ask that you pause your video again so that you can take some notes on the side, and then we'll join together again in just a moment. So, our goal right now is thinking about the text structure. How did the author set up this text? And so when we think about text structure, we're thinking about, is it comparison and contrast? Is it cause and effect? Does the author set it up in a sequential or logical order? Do they introduce a problem and discuss the solution? So right now, you're going to have two things out and ready to go. We're going to open our books to a few pages back. So we're going to be looking at pages 22 and 23. And then I'm also going to ask that you have your exit ticket at the ready. And so it should look like this. It should say text structure 6.4, know it and show it. And we're going to be focusing on page 23. So you're going to make sure that you're open to that page so that we're ready to go. So we're going to be looking at paragraphs 5 through 8. And as we're doing this, we're going to be thinking about a procedure that the author is describing in paragraphs 5 through 8. And then we're going to think about how that connects to our text structure. For months, Christo holed up in his studio, often spending 15 hours a day making preparatory drawings. Downstairs, Jean-Claude fielded telephone calls and organized thousands of details. As creative partners, the artists worked together in a whirlwind of activity. Usually, an artist labors in the studio and exhibits a finished artwork in a museum or gallery, but the gates would be erected in Central Park while the whole world watched. In January of 2005, 1,506 mysterious-looking black steel boxes were spaced roughly every 12 feet along the miles of paths in the park. These boxes were actually solid bases, an ingenious solution to the problem of supporting the posts without digging holes in the grass walkways. On February 6th, 6 days before the gates was scheduled to open, 600 workers, paid by Christo and Jean-Claude, fanned out across the park in teams of 8. They confirmed that the black boxes were level. On the bases, they put up tall saffron-colored poles made in a factory for that project. Tightly wrapped banners extended across the tops, ready to be unfurled. So you're going to go back to our text structure exit ticket, and you're going to answer the question, what procedure is the author explaining in paragraphs 5 to 8? So pause the video and take a few moments to type in probably a couple of sentences answering the question. So remember that a procedure is the steps that have to be taken in order to accomplish something. So our next step is going to be to look at what words and phrases does the author use to help you understand the sequence. So you're going to go back into the text, and you can highlight or underline words that you notice that tell you the order of things that happened. So what are some words that you notice that they choose that really help you understand how the order took place? So with complete sentences, making sure that we have uppercase letters and proper punctuation, making sure that we have our turned around questions in order to be able to answer them. what I'd like you to do is you're going to include some of the words and phrases that you notice that help you understand the order of events or the sequence. And then our third question that you're going to answer is, what is the author's purpose in retelling this sequence of events? Why do you think that the author included this? What does it do for you when you hear that sequence? And what do you think that the author is trying to do in terms of text structure? So what I'd like you to do right now is you're going to go into the text and look at paragraphs 5 to 8, and then you're going to decide, why do they have a text structure, or which text structure are they using, and how can we use a sequence to help us understand the text a little bit better. So making sure that you have complete sentences for each of the questions and that you have proper punctuation and turned around questions. So you're going to TTQA each. And then make sure that you hit that submit button once you've completed the exit ticket.